and welcome to the CNN Super Tuesday debate. I am your host, Wolf Blitzer, and I know that I look like that I haven't shaved for these last 4 years. Right before we start, we need to get info on how the ratings are looking for this debate. Take it away, Sean Spicer. Wolf, this is the largest audience to watch a presidential debate, period. Thank you, Sean Spicer. Now you can disappear out of existence. All right, let's begin this debate. First, let's meet the candidates. Former President Donald Trump, who we have handcuffed to a pole onto the podium because he attempted to escape this debate earlier. Former South Carolina Governor and former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley. Alright, now let's talk about the platform that both candidates agreed on. This is a town hall / presidential debate format, which basically means you'll be taking some questions from voters in the audience, and you'll be taking questions from me, the moderator. Each candidate will have 1 to 2 minutes to answer each question, no opening statements, and 3 minutes for closing arguments. Thank you, and let's begin this debate. We did a coin toss before this debate to see who will get the first question, and Governor Haley, you won that. Dang it. And our first question comes from Mr. Julius Hibbert. Good evening, Governor Haley. Welcome to Texas. Good evening and thank you. It's good to be back. My question is that this week, Senator Mitch McConnell announced that he'd step down from leadership in November. Do you think our Congress is getting too old to serve this country? Well, Julius, that's a good question. I'm glad you asked me that. Now, we just got to face the facts. Donald Trump is 77 years old, almost in his 80s, and Joe Biden is 81 years old. By the time he finishes his second term, he'd be 86. We don't know if he'll live enough to be there. And our Congress is the most exclusive nursing home in the country. That's a fact. And we have 80-year-olds like Mitch McConnell, Nancy Pelosi, etc. running our government, running for our future. They are America's past, and they can't lead us into America's tomorrow. And heck, our president, he can't even do anything but sleep in the Oval Office and keep falling at campaign events. And we gotta fix something about this problem. We need new generational leadership. That is why on day 1 of my presidency, I will sign an executive order that will make mental competency tests mandatory for politicians over 75 years old to prove they can still do the job with their mind in the right place. Thank you. All right, thank you, Governor Haley. Mr. Trump, same question. Wolf, first I want to say, debates are stupid. They're a bunch of lousy job interviews that were done for all the candidates on your liberal network, Fox News, News Nation, NBC, all that. I really do not care for these debates, but you tricked me, and now I'm getting the same treatment that I got from my last 4 arraignments. You can at least unhandcuff me. You know I won't go. Well, Mr. Trump, I'm not taking a risk. Now, answer the question, please. Well, I think I'm mentally well enough to serve as President of the United States. Heck, doctors say I'm better than I was 25 years ago. That's what they said. Yeah, right. We have an 81-year-old in the Oval Office that can barely function. The only time he ever functions is nap time. Heck, he can't even find the stairs on Air Force One. That's why he always tripped over them. And in fact, I think he probably has dementia. But let's consider the facts. Nancy Pelosi. Nikki Haley. She's called for new generational leadership. She's not the face of a new generation. Heck, she's 51, I believe. 52, I believe. And I have to agree with Don Lemon. I'm sorry, but you are not in your prime, Nikki. All right. Settle down. Governor Haley, your response. At least I don't have cognitive decline like you and Joe. What are you talking about? My brain is fine. Don, you just referred to me as Nancy Pelosi like a minute ago. Are you sure you don't need a mental competency test? Fine, I'll take a mental competency test after this debate, but I challenge you to take one as well. Fine by me. Deal! Alright, next question is from Mr. Trump, and it comes from a woman by the name of Marjorie. Oh dear God. That's right, Wolf, it's me, Marjorie Taylor Greene, here and ready to ask a question for Donald. Hey, Marjorie, how you doing? Doing fine, Donald. Alright, now let me ask this question. Alright, Marjorie, you may go ahead. Or should I call you Miss Green? You may refer to me as Miss Green, Wolf. And now, to ask my question. Donald, the migrant crisis is out of control, and recently, a student in my home state of Georgia was murdered by an illegal immigrant. What will you do about this crisis? Well, first of all, I want to extend my condolences to the family of Lincoln Riley once more. I had the opportunity to speak to her parents not too long ago. I always exploit that fact that I met with her parents, called her parents, told them that they're in my prayers. Yep. But what's going on in this country is unbelievable. Ever since the start of Joe Biden's crooked presidency, we've had hundreds, maybe even billions of migrants flood our country, invade our country, which is why we need to put him on trial for incitement of insurrection, because he incited an insurrection at our border. And I promise that when I am president, day one, I will sign an executive order that will begin the largest deportation operation this country has ever seen. It's time we get these illegals out of here. Get these aliens out. Governor Haley, the exact same question. Well, Wolf, as you know, I am the daughter of Indian immigrants who came to this country legally. Yeah, right. Your parents stayed in India when you were born, and quite frankly, I don't think you're even eligible to run for president. I don't think even to be president at this point. And you're pretty much like Lion Ted when he ran for president. I don't mean that in a bad way, Ted. You're a nice person. I'm glad you endorsed me. I don't want to lose that endorsement now. See, this is exactly what Donald Trump does, America. He disrupts people. I think we're finally getting under his skin. All right, settle down, entire planet. Now, Ambassador, please finish your response. Well, I technically agree with what Donald says. I mean, technically, if you came here legally, that's fine. But if you came here illegally and tortured our police forces like what happened in New York, you gotta get the heck out of this country. All right, thank you, Governor Haley. Now let's move on to the next question from our next audience member. But first, Wolf, I just want to say this one thing. Yes, Governor Haley. Well, first of all, I want to call out Donald Trump for using a teleprompter during this debate, which makes me believe that his team looked at the audience's questions before this debate and wrote responses for him so he wouldn't be unhinged tonight. But he still is unhinged. This is the biggest breach in public trust in presidential debates that I have seen in American history. Nikki, I cannot believe you are accusing me of breaching the public's trust over presidential debates. It's like every liberal doing so. In fact, I think you are a liberal. No, I am a hard-fighting conservative. And for the record, that is not a teleprompter, that is a camera. Then why does it have words coming out of the lens, Donald? I don't know what you're talking about. Michael Watley, destroy that teleprompter! That's my new RNC chairman right there. Okay, now that we have moved away from that bombshell moment of this debate, let's now move on to the next audience question, shall we? Our next question comes from a Mr. Oh my God. Hunter Biden, what are you doing here? I came here to question Donald Trump, who will probably be my future roommate if he and I both wind up in prison. Oh my God, no! My question is, how will your court cases impact your campaign? You know, Hunter, I wasn't originally going to ask any question from you, but that's a very good question, bud. I'm surprised your crack dope-filled head could be able to figure out that question and put it in a sentence. Let me just say that the liberals, they're all after me. They want me in jail where they think I belong, just because I'm running for president. They fear that I'm going to defeat crooked Joe Biden. And so the next thing that happens, the Justice Department, they investigate me. They investigate me with a conspiracy with Alvin Bragg, that DA in New York, Manhattan. And then they indict me. In fact, I'm going to have my first trial in maybe like 3 weeks, I believe. And then the Justice Department conspires with Jack Smith, liberal Jack Smith, by indicting me again for the whole classified documents thing. It was not a big deal. I mean, I was allowed to take those classified documents. I declassified them before I left office. And they indicted me for something that's not a big deal. They claim I did election interference in the 2020 election, the last election, which I'm basically immune for since I was doing those inactions when I was president. And anything I do as president is immune under the fact that I was doing what I can for the American public. And then next, the Justice Department and crooked Joe Biden then conspired with phony Fonnie Willis and indicted me in Georgia, where I got that very good-looking mugshot. It's a great photo. Do you want to see it? Yep, there's the photo. There's the photo right there of that good-looking sexy beast in that Georgia photo. And just to tell y'all, that jail was terrible. It was disgusting. It was dirty. It kind of reminds me of something Todd Chrisley said. He spoke on the phone from prison. He said his jail was just as terrible as Fulton County's. There was decay everywhere. The place didn't look like it was cleaned up in years. The place looked like it was abandoned. And heck, I believe one day after I took that mugshot there at that jail, I believe there was this inmate that stabbed another inmate at that jail. It was horrible, very tragic that what happened. So as you can see, the Department of Injustice and crooked Joe Biden are conspiring with all these DAs to attempt to stop my campaign and re-elect crooked Joe for another 4 years. It's a terrible conspiracy. It's a horrible time for America. Governor Haley, your response? There you go again, Donald. You're going to be the one that spends more time in a courtroom this year rather than on the campaign trail greeting your supporters. A person who's in a courtroom most of the time during the campaign can't win a general election. That's a fact. In fact, your first trial is happening in less than 3 weeks from now. And you're required to be there every single day, Donald. And you can't possibly govern from prison. That's a fact. Heck, you can't even communicate with the American people. They will take your phone away when you're in prison. So your one source of getting word out, Twitter or maybe Truth Social, I believe, will be taken away from you if you go to prison, Donald. You can't win a general election from prison. That's a fact you're going to have to live with. This is why I never wanted to debate at all this campaign season. Especially, I did not want to debate a woman. There he goes. He gets more unhinged every time, y'all. Oh, and by the way, Nikki, where's your husband? Where's he at? Where's Michael? Well, as you know, Donald, Michael is serving overseas. I assume you probably didn't know that. Or you probably did. And he's serving our country right now at a time when our military is needed the most. My husband is a former combat veteran who served this country during Afghanistan. And Donald, since you love talking about my husband, I want to ask you something. Where's Melania? Where's she at? That's the bigger question, folks. Oh, you know what, Nikki? I think Melania's right up there. Hey, Melania. Donald, actually, that's your daughter, Ivanka. Oh. Forget I said that, folks. All right, settle down. It's time we get to closing arguments. Shall we, ladies and gentlemen? All right. Governor Haley, you go first. Thank you, Wolf. America, let me ask you this. Are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Are you better off than you were 8 years ago when Donald Trump was first elected? Are we prepared to have two 80-year-olds as our party's nominees in this November? Or do we want a new direction? We gotta accept that 70% of Americans don't want to see a Biden-Trump rematch. That's a fact we're gonna have to live with, y'all. And the public views them both very unpopular. In recent polls, Biden beats Trump by 4 points. On a good day, Donald beats him by 2. I beat Joe Biden by 18 points. That's more than just the presidency. It's the House, the Senate. No more multi-ballot speaker elections. We can finally get the job done in Congress. So, if you want a better choice, vote for me this Tuesday. If you don't, then, well, I suggest another option you may have. Thank you. Well, Wolf, I'm going to make a closing argument to my loyal and devoted supporters who've been with me since the day I went down that golden escalator. This closing argument to my loyal and devoted voters may be a little hypnotic, but you'll love it. Vivek! Don't worry, I got you, Donald. Go ahead and change. Oh, hey, Nikki. How's your daughter doing? Seriously? You're still talking about my daughter? Oh my god. Alright, Vivek, open up the curtain. Alright, y'all, you may have heard this from a recent film that was in theaters, and that became a whole meme all around the world. So please stay in your seats. I got a bonus for you. Oh dear God, can we please stop this? We're already in overtime. It's too late. I already started dancing. Once I start, I can't stop.
Oompa Loompa Doompity-Doo, I've got a tragic tale for you. Oompa Loompa Doompity-Dee, if you are wise, you'll listen to me.